All right, so here we are with another episode of Minecraft. As you can see, we are on a different seed. I decided that it had been a while since we had swapped to a different seed, and with all the latest updates, I figured that we would kind of start afresh. I thought about just staying on my normal seed, but because of the fact that I've done a lot of exploring around that area, it's hard for me to reload in new chunks with the new versions. So I figured I would just start from scratch. That doesn't mean that the old seed is gone forever. It just means that right now we're just going to kind of start fresh. This is also not in hardcore mode, though I did think about it, but I decided that I would stick with more of the chill, just survival version of it before going all the way back into hardcore mode. Anyways, while we start exploring this around, be sure to leave a like if you like the video and subscribe. One of the main things that I looked for when picking a new seed was that there was a village nearby, along with some of the other newer features with the new version of 1.21.5. So there is one of those pale forests, not super far from here. It's not really big, so I don't know if it's gonna fully count, but it's there at least for us to eventually go and explore. I also kind of decided that you'll see it later on in the video, but I eventually put shaders on just since I get a little bit bored with this initial go of Minecraft because I'm so used to having all of my gear flying around with my elytra, having all my diamond armor at least until I die. So I do end up putting some shaders on just so that walking around is a little bit different. I don't like the version of shaders that I have because it doesn't mark the ground the way I like it to be done. So I'll eventually lose track of where the water is. So we'll swap that out at a certain point, but for now we'll just stick with it. This village also had a couple of the different workbenches and structures that I tend to like it to have, so I don't have to go in and make it, this being one of them. I do find it annoying that I had one of the leather stations, because then you have to basically clear out all of those cauldrons because you're just drowning in different leather workers, as you can see behind us. This one does have a couple of different farmers, which is kind of nice, but it doesn't have the church, so there isn't a cleric, but I do have a librarian. I have yet to get him to the level of either Fortune 3 or Looting 3, which is a bit of an annoyance. This house way over here is the one that I've mainly been setting my spawn point at, not because it's the most convenient, but largely because there aren't any villagers living in all of the beds. I don't really like popping into beds that they're staying in because they have a tendency to run out and open doors and let the zombies in and cause never-ending trouble. So I try to find ones where they're not kind of chilling with me so that I don't have to run into that. So it's kind of strange starting a new seed just because it's been a really long time. So all of these recipes that I've had for years suddenly gone. But I don't know, kind of an interesting thing. Let me know what you guys think about this, because it's been a while since we've gone on this type of a journey. Here we are back to getting all of our copper because, as we all know, we will be obviously starting a new castle, and we'll get to see how this one turns out, if it's even better than the last one. I think the hill kind of by the village will probably be where we put the castle. I always thought with the main seed that we have, putting the castle up on the really tall hill, but because of chunk loading, I decided that I didn't want to go with that one. It was also really weird having to do any cave diving because apart from copper, I'm so used to having my iron farm and all that. So suddenly having to pop around the mines and worry about being attacked by zombies and skeletons and spiders again felt really weird. This was a large cave because, as you can see, I'm able to get all the way down to some of the deep slate, which is pretty nice, being able to easily access around there, which is cool. I prefer doing this type of mining when going and getting all of the iron as opposed to doing some strip mining. I just find strip mining just super boring, and then I just end up with so much cobblestone and I don't know what to do. I also had some of this sugarcane and I started putting it down because we all know that will most likely be one of the first farms that we end up making. There's this weird river type spot that these poor sheep keep getting stuck in, and so I kept on just digging little areas for them so that they wouldn't just be stuck in the water. Here's another one of the sheeps that got stuck. And so, because we all know that we'll end up needing a bunch of beds for our iron farm and some of the other mining stuff that we end up doing. I do have a Fletcher, which I did originally have in our main seed, but he died or vanished in one of the AFK debacles. So I'm glad to finally have one of the Fletchers back. Here's where I turn the seeds on, the shaders on. I like these shaders in general, but the one issue is that the water definition is nice and clear, which looks really pretty, except for the fact that you'll just be wandering around and all of a sudden you're like, why am I moving so slowly? It's because of the fact that you have water going and you are unaware of it. As you can see, I'm starting to work on trading up some of my villagers just so that we can do that, because we all know that that's the fastest way to getting all of your diamond material is just trading with villagers constantly. So that's where we kind of have landed on doing it. It is one thing with the shaders that I have a bit of a hard time with is the fact that they use the light of, here's the water. They use the light of the torch to kind of light your little area around, which makes it kind of hard to tell if you've reached a dark area, which I find a little bit annoying because I want to know if I'm leaving any spots that creatures can spawn in. I don't know what my librarian is doing. He just was chilling in the water way over there. He doesn't have, again, he hasn't quite reached any of the trading levels that I want, so he isn't officially the librarian yet. I built out this tiny little platform because there was some iron that I wanted to get, which is always a bit nerve-wracking when dealing with some of these really big cave drop-offs. I did find it, I almost left that open, and we all know I would have immediately fallen through it. I also was a little bit surprised in the fact that I have yet to run into any creatures, mobs in general. I did see a creeper at one point just chilling, but he was up several layers, so that was a little bit odd, just suddenly finding myself without running into any general monsters. I did find this mine shaft or mine area, which is kind of interesting. Mines make me nervous just because of the spider spawners and the nightmares that those creatures can bring. So I'm always very cautious when dealing with them. Also, I don't know if any of you guys will remember this, but I had been forgetting how to find tuft, which, because of the dungeon chambers, they have the cool different ways of making the tough bricks. And so I couldn't remember where I was supposed to get it. And so I was very excited when I was down here in the mine and I actually found a section of it. I was like, oh, this is how we do it. But yeah, I was running around getting all of these rail tracks because we'll need it for when we move villagers around for our iron farm. And also I walked past it, but I do get the diamonds back there. My main goal in this was just to get a nice little base of general things that we're going to need, but yeah. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, how you guys feel about swapping to a different seed, and leave a like if you liked the video and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.